What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? And welcome to this week's Raw Recap. And as always in these recap videos, we go over everything you need to know about this important episode of WWE. I give my thoughts on the show at any point in the video. You guys can let me your thoughts down in the comments below. But as always, before we get anywhere into any video, be sure to help your boy out by subscribing to the channel, turn on post notifications, as always, be sure to like the video as well. And always be sure to go follow my socials. Links to those will be in the description of this video. That includes my Instagram account, my X account. Do all that helps me out a ton. And now let's get you guys straight into this week's Raw Recap. Alright, so we would kick off the show with Gunther, the man who is going to face John Cena in his last and final match. So he comes out and he pretty much gives some respect towards John Cena, telling him he is, he is pretty much honoring him as, and acknowledging Cena as what he is, a 17-time world champion, pretty much a record beater, a GOAT, pretty much just acknowledging John Cena for what he is. But he doesn't do that for too long because it's Gunther. You already know what he's going to do. He's going to jump in and he's going to be the heel that he is. So that's immediately what he does right after that. He pretty much pulls up a timer, or says pull up a timer, pull up the timer, and what comes up on the screen is John Cena's final match, and it's just a timer with like 4 days, and obviously because that happens Saturday, this coming Saturday. And pretty much what he says is, he tells John, and he looks straight in the camera, he says he is going to bully him, he's going to push him around, he is going to beat him, and he's going to squeeze him, and he's going to squeeze everything out of him. He's going to squeeze that hustle, loyalty, and respect, and he's going to make John Cena do that one thing that he said he would never do, and that is give up. And that is pretty much it. So honestly, everything that Gunther said, it was what you can expect. It was a pretty quick promo. It wasn't anything super in-depth. It was, like I said, I think it was really what we can all expect from this promo. So I mean, I would say this was a very predictable promo. I guess it was a solid opener. I don't think it was anything super crazy because, like I keep saying, this is kind of the only thing that I expected coming from Gunther. I mean, I didn't expect Gunther to come out here and just acknowledge John Cena for what he is. I definitely, expected him to come out here and just completely shit on John Cena. That's pretty much exactly what he did. So I think the trash talking was cool. I mean, it's expected, but overall, I will say it was a pretty solid opener. I guess maybe it would have been cool to have a little bit more to it, but I guess really what could have you added here? But overall, I do think it was a solid promo for the most part. All right, now we would jump into Io Sky versus Kairi Sane, and this was a match that I just personally didn't care for, not because of, star power. I think this match overall from an in-ring perspective was good. I just think it's, for me personally, it's from a storyline perspective. I mean, I like what's going on with the women's tag division, but the thing I don't like is really just these two teams. I really have not found too much interest in either of these teams. I really enjoy it more when they're actually involved with other people and not just them, these two, in themselves, because obviously we have the team of Rio. I mean, in this match, yes, it was just Io Sky versus Kairi Sane, but they both represent their individual teams, and those are the teams that, like I said, I don't personally really haven't cared for them much recently. I mean, I really enjoy, the other, tag team, the women's tag teams that are, involved with this tag team division right now, but these two really just can't get behind them. I just can't really buy into the storyline. I just don't really care for it personally, and with this match, it kind of just felt like we were back to square one when the Kabuki Warriors had originally turned heel. That's kind of what this felt like to me. I mean, I get they have to keep stuff going, but I would have liked something a little bit different instead of just having these two teams go back, back at each other again, because like I said, it kind of just felt like going back to square one. But overall, like I said, I think from an in-ring perspective, the match was good. There was definitely some good moments in there, some good high-flying stuff from Kairi Sane, not Kairi Sane. Well, I mean, realistically, both of them, but most importantly, Io. She also hit a great, I believe it was like it was a German suplex to Kairi Sane on the on the apron of the ring, which looked absolutely gnarly. That was definitely the best part of this match, in my opinion. We would also get to a point where we would see Asuka. She would get involved, but inevitably that wouldn't really work out because Rhea would take out Asuka, and then we would see Io Sky hit her move, and then we would see 1, 2, 3, and Io Sky does pick up the win here. So I think that's cool. Io Sky getting a win here is pretty awesome, and that I think I do like that, in my opinion. The one thing, my only complaint here is really just from storylines. I don't really care for these two teams, just individually and going at, really having them continue to go at each other. I really just don't care for it. But overall, in-ring perspective, I think the match was good, and like I said, Io Sky does pick up the win here. Alright, now we jumped in what was supposed to be Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor, but as Rey Mysterio was making his entrance, he got to about the ring, and then we would see Logan Paul show up, and obviously Logan Paul out here to attack Rey Mysterio because he is pissed that Rey Mysterio did slap him last week on Raw. So Logan Paul comes out, starts beating down Rey Mysterio, and he gets the upper hand for a good portion of the of this brawl that we do have. But we do get to a point where Rey Mysterio does get the upper hand, and he gets Logan Paul in the 619 position. But guess who would come out? Not Braun Breaker, not Bronson Reed, but we would actually see the masked hoodied man that we saw at War Games. He would come out and would help Logan Paul. He would once again hit a stomp, and he would hit it on Rey Mysterio. He would run off. The security would chase him, but he would get out of there. Again, we really can't tell much of who this guy is. He's completely in black with eye black as well. He really can't see much. He's dressed in all black. His skin color, he got the eye black, so you can't see who he is the point. But then we would see the ref come in to check on Rey. But then the ref would kind of get out of the ring because Logan Paul would come back. He'd have the brass knuckles and he'd lay weight and he'd fucking rail Rey Mysterio right in the jaw with the brass knuckles. And then we would see LA Knight come out, which at first I was kind of like, what? But then I remembered obviously Logan Paul's in the Division, so obviously LA Knight's out here. But for some reason in my brain it kind of was like, why is LA Knight out here? But obviously, LA Knight then comes out. That kind of scares Logan Paul off. Logan Paul would run up to the ramp, to the entrance area, and then we would see LA Knight. He would hop on the mic. He'd say, as you can tell, I've been losing lately and I'm pissed off, and I come out here and I thought the Vision couldn't get any worse, but now I see your sorry ass show up. And then he says that now you want to come out here and beat on this man Rey Mysterio. How about I make you pay? And I don't want to make you pay Saturday. I don't want to make you pay Friday. I want to make you pay Monday. Yeah. And then we hear and then he says, with everybody saying LA Knight. Yeah. So do we get that match at this point in time? We currently don't know, but we most likely will get this match. I don't see why we wouldn't, but currently we don't really know yet because obviously that just happened, but we will have to wait and see. But yeah, overall, I think this was pretty cool. It was cool to see the masked hoodie man again. I think LA Knight versus Logan Paul will be pretty cool, I guess. I think honestly, I think it would have been better to obviously see Rey versus Finn, but obviously I don't think we did not get that. But overall, I do think this was still cool. We're going to get LA Knight on the show, so very cool in my opinion. And overall, that's really all you got to know. All right, now we would jump into Dragon Lee and AJ Styles defending their tag titles against the War Raiders, and I think this was a very good match, man. I think this actually was a great match, actually. A few moments that I did like in this match. At the start of the match, we would see like AJ Styles. He's kind of sitting down on the ground. He's kind of like leaned up against the ring as well, like the screen side. And then we would see Ivar. He would go up to like the little entrance area, and then he would just run and bulldoze right into AJ Styles. That looked absolutely gnarly. I liked that. That was a good moment. About halfway into the match, we would see a gnarly freaking body slam by Ivar to Dragon Lee on the outside of the ring. That thing also looked very gnarly. And then, I mean, it's just some of the very good moments that we had seen in this match. And overall, I think this match was just overall very solid. And another moment that I also almost forgot about was we would see AJ Styles. He would go up to the top, and then he would just pretty much do a Hurricane Rana to Ivar from the top rope, and that would send Ivar into Eric, which I think was very cool as well. So just overall, I think there's many more moments than that, but overall, those are my favorite moments. But overall, I think this match was great from an in-ring perspective. It was amazing in my opinion. And at the end of the match, we would see, as you can expect, that still your champions are going to be Dragon Lee and AJ Styles. Overall, solid match. This is something I really would love to see again. I think this match was absolutely awesome. In the post-match, there was actually a lot that happened in the post-match. So in the post-match, first we would see the New Day enter the ring, and then, quite unexpected, we would see the Usos come out. So they come out, they do their whole entrance with Jay, with the whole, they run it back and all that, but then they get down to business. So they say they are back in the tag division. They say that we've been taking L's. Jay losing his final match against John Cena, Jay losing his World Heavyweight title, us losing at WrestlePalooza, us losing at War Games, all that stuff. But now we are going to take what is ours. We are going to work on us. We are going to pretty much, like I said, be back in the tag division. And they look over at AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. They say they don't know us, but then they look over to the other side side, they see the New Day and they say they know us, they know how this rolls, they know how it all goes down, and pretty much they say that, you know, every time that we get in the ring type of thing, it's always us on top, because obviously the New Day and obviously the Usos have feuded before. One of their most notable matches, in my opinion, at least that I feel, is from back in the day. I believe it was 2017 Hell in a Cell, or 2018, one of the two, maybe 2019. No, I think it was 2017 or 2018. We said we would see the Usos versus the New Day in a Hell in a Cell, which I think was a good match in my opinion. But overall, that's pretty much what you have to know there. We would eventually see the the Usos. They would turn back over to AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. The New Day kind of like fed up. They would turn the Usos around, but then they would just get clocked. They would get out of the ring, and then it would just be a stare down between the Usos, AJ Styles, and Dragon Lee. So pretty much what you have to know here is the Usos are back in the tag division, but one thing I do have to say is what's going on with the whole, you know, mental breakdown Jey Uso, because obviously after he lost his match against Gunther to go on to face John Cena, he crashed out. What happened to all that? Because now we're just all of a sudden back in the tag division, which I'm not saying as there's a problem with. I actually like that they're back in the tag division. I think that's going to be cool, but it also leaves that thing where it's like, you know, what's up with the whole Jey Uso thing? What are we doing with that? Because they left it, came back to it, now they're leaving it again type of thing. So we'll have to see what goes on with that. Is that really ever going to come back? I don't really know. But all I do know is it's going to be cool to see the Usos back in the tag division, and overall, I can't wait. And like I said, that match that we did have here was overall awesome. All right, now we would jump into Stephanie Vaquer and Jackie Redmond. So Jackie Redmond would pretty much welcome Stephanie Vaquer out, and pretty much why we're here is to figure out, you know, what is next for Stephanie Vaquer. So she comes out, and pretty much what she has to say is, you know, telling pretty much that she is not afraid. She is not afraid to face anybody. In fact, she wants to face everybody to prove she is the most dominant. She says she's not the most dominant or the best because the Devil's Kiss, but she is the most dominant because pretty much of her accomplishments, what she is currently holding, who she has beaten, most notably Nikki Bella, who she just beat at War Games, who was a, you know, legend and Hall of Famer. From this though, we would see Nikki Bella come out. Nikki Bella pretty much says that Kansas City does not deserve a presence like her, and then she would say that, you know, Stephanie, this isn't over, and we are going to get down to business, and I deserve my rematch. But then Nikki Bella would come up on the ring apron, which would then lead to Raquel Rodriguez coming out. She would pull down Nikki from the ring, and then grab Nikki and then drive her right into the ring post. And the freaking ring post, this noise that made with Nikki, the connection that made, the sound was pretty freaking harsh, man. That sounded absolutely gnarly. I kind of wonder how bad that felt. I mean, I don't want to find out. I'm just saying, but yeah. But then we would see Raquel Rodriguez get in the ring, and pretty much what she has to say is, name the time, name the place, and I will see you then, perra. And then obviously, if you know what perra means, you know what perra means. I mean, you just kind of have to know. It's obviously Spanish, but yeah. So that is pretty much it. Who's next for Stephanie? It's obviously Raquel Rodriguez. When are we going to get this match? Probably Saturday night's main event, because I mean, it's not currently announced yet, but I could definitely expect it at Saturday night's main event. So that'll be pretty cool, I guess. But as far as this segment here, I don't think it was anything crazy, just because it wasn't super in depth. It didn't really, I mean, it revealed who Stephanie's next challenger is, yes, but I just don't think there really was too much development and too much, you know, actual, like, you know, depth into this, like I said. So overall, I guess it was okay. It wasn't terrible, wasn't super intrigued, but I guess it'll be cool to see Raquel go after the title, you know, something different for her, I guess, going after something big. So that'll be pretty cool to see. But yeah, that's really all you got to know. All right, and now we would jump into Roxanne Perez versus Lyra Valkyria, and I don't really think this was a, you know, super intriguing match. I really honestly kind of felt a bit random to me. It was okay though. I don't think it was anything super crazy, so we're gonna cut straight to the chase. We got to the end. We would see Liv Morgan on the apron. She would kick Lyra Valkyria right in the face. That would help out Roxanne Perez, allow Roxanne to hit the Pop Rocks. 1, 2, 3. Match is over, man. I don't think it was anything super crazy. I'm not saying it was bad. I just don't think it was super intriguing. It was okay though. I didn't really mind it too much though. But yeah, overall, nothing super crazy. I mean, really, you don't gotta know too much, except, you know, Roxanne Perez does pick up the win here, so that's cool. That I do like that. But as far as overall, I don't really think it was anything super intriguing, honestly. Alright, now we would jump into our main event of the night, which took place between Logan Paul versus LA Knight, and a lot happened here, man. So, and it's not really what happened in the match, a lot happened in the post-match, so we're really not going to talk too much about the match. Yes, it was a good match, but let's just skip right to the end. So we got to the end, we would see the Brawns come out, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, who would, obviously, they would distract LA Knight, they would eventually get thrown out, but LA Knight would attack them, and then that would lead into, eventually, we would eventually see Logan Paul win. So pretty much what you got to know there, Logan Paul does win this match. But then let's jump to the post-match where things get good. So we jump to the post-match. So we get Braun Breaker on the mic. Paul Heyman does talk a little bit, but we really need to know and analyze is what Braun Breaker said. So they give him more time on the mic just like they did last week. So what Braun Breaker does have to say is pretty much that he wants to get the version of CM Punk from 2011, 2012, 2013. The guy who went on the historic, I believe it was 400 something plus, it was like 470 or 450 something day reign type, something like that. But yes, and then pretty much what he wants is he wants that version of CM Punk, and he says if he doesn't get that type of CM Punk, he is going to take everything from him. He's going to take that World Heavyweight Championship. He's going to take the reputation of CM Punk, and while he's at it, he's even going to take his wife. Which was, I mean, that's what he ended off with. So, man, pretty freaking crazy words from Braun Breaker. Earlier in the segment too, he would also say that, you know, he walks around here and he preaches drug free, that he's straight edge, but he walks around here as one of the biggest crackheads ever type. So overall, man, this promo was absolutely insane once again. I think this one, it is just absolutely insane, just like last week's, man. Braun Breaker killing it on the mic, man. I hope they continue to give him time like this week after week on the mic. It just keeps getting better, man. What he said tonight was absolutely insane. After that, though, we would jump to, we would get on the screen where we would see like WWE officials. They would be carrying out LA Knight in the back. LA Knight would, you know, he'd kind of back him off. Braun Breaker and Logan Paul would see that. They would go back to the back, and then we would brawl for a little bit. They would put LA Knight through a table. LA Knight kept moving, and then they would beat LA Knight down, put him on top of a car. Bronson Reed goes up, hits a tsunami on top of a car down to LA Knight, and that is the end of the show. So, what you got to know here is, as far as the match goes, Logan Paul does win. Braun Breaker just keeps killing it on the mic. Absolutely insane promo. And then we just see an absolute destruction of LA Knight in the back. So overall, this was a great main event. I enjoyed it for the most part. In fact, I think I enjoyed every freaking bit of it. I love the main event. I think it was absolutely freaking awesome. All right, that's everything that you guys need to know about this week's episode of Raw. As always, I do hope you guys did enjoy. And just ranking this episode of Raw, I will be honest, I think for the most part, this was actually a solid episode of Raw. Yes, there was a few things that I didn't really care for, but overall, I do think I did actually like this episode of Raw. But like I said, do hope you guys did enjoy. Be sure to leave me your thoughts down in the comments below. Hit that sub button, like the video, turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload. Go follow the socials. Links to those will be in the description of this video. And that includes my Instagram account, my X account. Do all that helps me out a ton, and I will catch y'all boys in the next one. Peace.